Hey everybody, hi, how are you? Cheryl here with cardsbycheryl.com. Thanks for stopping by my craft studio. I'm happy to have you here with me tonight. I had tried to make this video multiple times during the day, but here I am, 8:10 at night, and I'm doing it. So I don't have good lighting here. I've got a couple of bugs flying around me. That's weird. And nighttime, so my camera light is not the greatest, so I hope you'll bear with me, but I think it'll be fine for when I show you the cards. Anyway, I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Gladwin, Michigan, and I'm here tonight with a little video on some card projects that I made using the 12 Days of Crafting Advent Calendar by Stampin' Up! So if you did not catch the unboxing video, I will link it below, and you can see I opened every window. Dang it. Fruit fly or something. Sorry about that. I opened up every window and unboxed the products for you in this other video. And in that video, I didn't promise, but I came close to promising that I would offer you some fun card projects that I used with the kit to make these cards. So I have 5 cards to show you. I'm actually not going, I don't think I'm going to make any with you tonight. So, but I'm going to walk through them and try to give you the measurements where you can screenshot them and, you know, write things down. I would love to say that I will have a PDF with all of the card recipes in it for you. That would be a wonderful thing to offer, but I'm just not sure I can commit to that at this point. But what I can commit to is this video tonight and walking through with you on each card project and letting you know how I made it. So having said all of that, let me turn you down. Okay, to my desk. So what I did was I grabbed a couple, one. So I put all of my supplies in a paper pumpkin box. The stamp kit came in already a DVD case. I mounted the dies onto a magnetic sheet, and then my stamps are inside. So keep those there. Then I have a bunch of loose ephemera and different, embellishment pieces that I put in another blank DVD case. This I should probably put in there too. And these are all my supplies that I've been using. I tried really hard not to use a bunch of supplies that didn't come with the kit, because my goal for you is to buy this kit for somebody who's just getting started with crafting, maybe, where they have scissors and glue and adhesives and that kind of stuff, but not all the other stuff like the ephemera pieces and the glitter embellishments and even the glitter glue we used and the twine and that kind of stuff. So I really tried hard to stay within the realm of just the kit for you. That's not to say future cards won't include other pieces, but I did. Actually, I'm looking at this now. I'm looking at my cards here. There are a couple cards where I used some coordinating cardstock, but not designer paper, just basic cardstock. So I thought that would be okay. Okay, so anyway, so that's how I store all my parts and pieces, and I just keep this in front of me when I'm designing, and I ruffle through it when I'm looking for something in particular. So I'm going to start with the very first card I made, and I went with a card sketch that I got from Jackie Bullheis in her card sketch tutorials. Maybe you know of her. She's quite an accomplished demonstrator, and she does a lot with templates and card sketches and things like that. So I put together some of her card sketches, and I just made card fronts out of them. So the very first one I'm going to show you is this card front card sketch that I basically mocked up in, just random paper that I had, and then I wrote the details of the sketch on the back. Wow, that's really bright. I don't know if you can see that. Tone it down a bit, I guess. Maybe like that. So there's my recipe for this particular card, and this is what I used as my guide to make my first card. So set that aside, and kudos to Jackie for doing that, because she's really put a lot of work into all those templates and putting them into booklets and things like that. So anyway, the designer paper is kind of the star of the show here. This is what I've been using. Let's see, I chose for this particular card this pattern. Well, maybe I don't have any more of it. This pattern. Yeah, those 2 patterns is what I chose for my first card. I adore this pattern. I just think it's beautiful. I'd love this on a bedspread. I think that would be beautiful in my bedroom. So these were the 2 patterns I chose for my first card, and so let me show you what that looks like. So basically I did strips alternating, and then I did a focal panel, and I basically stamped and die cut some flowers from the kit. And then this circle is a pre-cut sentiment circle from the strip. And then I added a couple of the gold embellishments, which, by the way, I am in love with. The only thing that could make them any better is if they were adhesive backed. They're not, so you have to glue these on yourself. But they're so low profile. Can you see that? They really don't stick up above the other embellishments that are already on here. So I have to say, one of the things that disappointed me about this kit was Stampin' Up! Always tells you, they always tell you what the coordinating colors are. And they didn't do it in this one. And I got online and I looked all the way through the packaging. If I missed it, if somebody out there knows where they actually stated what the coordinating colors are for this kit, please clue me in, because I couldn't find it. So with some sleuthing, I thought it was Pretty in Pink for the pink, but it actually is Flirty Flamingo. I'll get to that in a little bit on a different card. And then the Misty Moonlight was kind of easy, and this is second generation Misty Moonlight. But basically, this card is very simple. You cut strips. I'm going to use my cheat sheet here. 1 inch by 4 inches. So you need 5 strips on an A2 size card, which is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So you have a 4 1/4 by 5.5, 5 strips that are 1 inch wide, and they're just spaced evenly apart. You glue those down first. Then you have this white layer, which is what I'm calling the focal piece, and that is 2 inches by 3.5 inches. And then you have a matte layer, which is this green color, and that is 2 1/4 by 3 3/4. Is that right? I'm going to just double check my notes here. So the designer paper, this part is 2 inches by 3.5. Okay, so the designer series paper on the focal point is 2 by 3.5, and then we're just going to go up 1/8 of an inch. So the matte layer behind that is 2 1/8 by 3 5/8. Okay, so this little green border is 2 1/8 by 3 5/8, and then the white matte layer, the biggest one I should say, is 3 3/4 by 2 1/4. Okay, does that match my 3 3/4 by 2 1/4? Yep. Okay, so those are your measurements for that. 1 by 4, and then I just gave you all those. And then these guys were just made using this stamp and this stamp, and they're in second generation ink. So that means I stamped it off, and then I stamped it, and then I die cut the second version. So that's a lighter shade of whatever ink color you're using. These little ferny pieces are not showing on the cover, but they're included in your die set. So it's this piece right here that I used to make those additional leaves. And I die cut those straight from the designer paper that came on the kit. So you can see I used the pattern paper. I had a small piece and I just die cut those pieces from that. So it has some nice texture and it matches perfectly with the card. So the stamp set for someone extra special obviously came with the set. And so that's my first card for someone extra special. And then in here, this is the Flirty Flamingo. So you can see the difference. This is the Pretty in Pink, which is not a bad match. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but it actually is. Unless someone can correct me, I think it's Flirty Flamingo. And so this is first and second generation. And then I used Daffodil Delight, I think, for the yellow. So pretty. So that's my first card. The second card I made looks like this. And this piece, this green piece, is actually hand stamped. So you only get 2 sheets of the green designer paper. And I was a little concerned about that because it's such a great accent color. I didn't want to blow it all. I mean, I didn't want to blow a big chunk of it, burning it up on a whole big piece of a background for a card, but I loved the look of this. So what I did was I grabbed a sheet of my Mossy Meadow, and I took the 2 stamps from the set. Let's see, did I use both of these? Yeah, I did. So I took this big leaf and this little leaf. Oh, that's messing me up. Hold on. I got to get away from that. There we go. I took this leaf and this leaf, and I put it together on the stamp set. So they were, I'll show you. And it's just random. So I just stuck one down, and then I stuck another one. I stuck the smaller one just like that, right next to it. Can you see that? And then I grabbed my white, Whisper White ink pad with a piece of Mossy Meadow, and this Mossy Meadow piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. So I grabbed a piece of Mossy Meadow, and I just took my leaves and my white ink pad, and I just stamped around the border like this, and then I would rotate and just make a pretty border. Now I re-inked my white ink pad since I did this card, so you can see the white is coming through a little bit bolder, which I don't think is bad. I actually like the subtleness of this. This might dry a little bit lighter. We'll see, but that's basically the technique I used. And I just did the border. I didn't have to stamp the whole green panel. I just stamped the border so it looked like you have nice little leaves coming through. And so that's how I did that. And so I saved my green designer paper, some of it anyway, to be used on more projects. Okay, so if you have a stash of green or Mossy Meadow, or maybe if you don't, you could use even just a white and do a light stamping of green instead of white on green. You could do light green on white and kind of get the same effect. So that's how I did the background of this card. And then this is one of my most favorite layouts. There's just something about this layout that is so simple. It's my go-to whenever I'm having a hard time creating. So basically, your designer series paper, this piece right here, is 3 inches by 4. So super easy to remember, 3 by 4 for your designer piece of paper. Then what you do is when you choose your matte color, for this I chose Misty Moonlight, which was also in my stash. I just go 1/8 of an inch bigger. So this blue layer measures 3 1/8, and it's going to be 4 1/8, if I did it right. 4 1/8. So whatever you get your DSP, or whatever your layer you're trying to matte, so if it's 3 by 4, and you want to just add a tiny little sliver of something to just make it pop, just add 1/8 of an inch. So if it's 3 by 4, if your DSP is 3 by 4, your matte layer is going to be 3 1/8 by 4 1/8. Okay. If it's 3 1/2, it's going to be 3 5/8 by 4 5/8. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so that's this card. This pattern square is part of the kit, so I use that. I stamped a bunch of these before I got started building my cards. This is kind of how I design. I take my dies, take my stamps, and I maybe don't know what I'm doing yet with anything. So in order to kind of get the creative juices flowing, what I do is I grab a bunch of ink colors that I think are nice, look nice together. In this case, I use the colors from the kit. So the Mossy Meadow, the Midnight or the Misty Moonlight, the yellow, the Flirty Flamingo. So I grabbed those ink colors and I just started stamping flowers. And I did first generation, second generation colors. So you get a mix of different colors. And I literally had a whole table full of flowers stamped. And it takes some time. And then I took another half an hour and I die cut them all out. So basically you've got a whole stack of ephemera pieces that you've just made, you stamped yourself, and you have now those to create with. And it just makes it easier because when you're creating, you're like, oh, I bet a pink one would look really good if I had a pink flower here. And you look and you're like, oh crap, I don't have a pink flower. Now you got to go grab your ink and get the stamp back out again and stamp it and then die cut it. And if you're like me, I'm kind of lazy. I'm like, yeah, I'll make it work with the blue. But if I had everything all out there ready to go and, and use, it's like, oh, it's a good setup for me. And I hope maybe it's a good setup for you too. And whatever parts and pieces you don't use, you know what, they went into here, right? And so there's all kinds of flowers, and that I did red flowers because I thought maybe those are poinsettias would be fun for Christmas. Anyway, so they're not wasted. Even if you don't use them on a card today, there are so many times I've gone back to a card, a stamp set that I saved all my pieces that I didn't use, and I was making a quick card. And I'm like, oh, thank you, Jesus. There, I already stamped it and it's already in there and cut out and die cut. I just grabbed it, threw it on the card, and it's like good to go. So it never hurts to do the groundwork first when you're trying to design and get something going. So that's my long-winded tip for you on that. So anyway, back to the card. So these little daisy flowers came from, if you guys watched my unboxing video, you'll know that I'm not a fan of shaker cards. And so this is the pack of embellishments that came with it that is perfect for shaker cards, but just, it's not my thing. So, but I did love the little daisy flowers that came in it. So I fished them out and I put glued down daisies all over the front of the DSP, and I thought that looked really sweet. And then the final thing I did was I used the baker's twine that came in the kit, the blue and white baker's twine, and I doubled it up and tied a big bow. I wrapped the bow around the card this way and tied the bow, and then I had these two big long tails, and I didn't really like them draping down because I just thought this was so pretty. I didn't really want to distract from that, so I kind of like pushed them off to the side, and then I thought that looks pretty nice. That looks kind of cool. So I pulled them off to the side, flipped this panel over, and taped them down so they're not going to fly away. And so it kind of looks like it's a package wrapped. I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, I liked it. So it's a little double bow, like a package, and I secured it on the back side. This panel is popped up with dimensionals, and then this is also popped up with dimensionals. This is behind it, not popped up, but this has some supporting dimensionals underneath these petals, so it matches the same level as the Miss You sentiment. So that's how I made that card. And then I just did the same treatment on the inside with the flowers that matches the front. Okay, so that's card number 2. Card number 3 didn't make it, didn't make the final list. I got to show you what happened here. So this is the stencils. I really wanted to use the stencils and show you how to use that tool. And I'm not giving up yet. But so I was really happy with this, the stenciling. I didn't have success with the brush that came with it. I did try it. I don't know what I would use this for. I'm not going to throw it away, but it doesn't hold a candle to our blending brushes. So when you're using stencils and you're doing blending, it's more of this is like more of a stenciling tool. I don't know. Well, this is stencil. So anyway, I didn't like it. Sorry. Can't lie. I will keep it. It'll be in my stash with my other brushes, but I didn't use it for this case. I used the Stampin' Blend blending brushes. And I really liked how this panel turned out. This is Flirty Flamingo, light and dark. Not light and dark, just like first generation, second generation. This is Mossy Meadow, and then this is the Misty Moonlight. Where I messed up was I wanted to put some speckles on it, and I'm not good at this. I don't do it often. And I grabbed my Mossy Meadow Stampin' Blend marker and did the speckles, and it just like flooded the whole card with way too many speckles. So I was like, dang it. I thought this was going to turn out to be kind of a cute card because I was going to mat it, and then I was going to put like some flowers down here and whatever. So that didn't work, but I may do another attempt at it just to see. Okay, so there was that kind of failure. And that was using these stencils that come with the kit. I used all 4 of them. The 2 of them are for the leaves and the other 2 are for the flowers. So, so there's that. Okay, the next card I did, I'm trying to figure out if I have a favorite. I don't think I do. I think this was the next card I did. This is a birthday wishes card. And nothing super fancy about this. Super easy to put together. Just you've got DSP on 2/3 of it with 1/3 of a coordinating color. So notice there's no DSP in your kit that looks like this. I did the same thing with Misty Moonlight and stamped off with the leaves. Made a little panel of my own DSP and secured that down. This little beautiful filigree floral wreath came with the kit. These 2 banners came with the kit. This came with the kit. This little heart came with the kit. So everything came with the kit except for the twine and then the blue panel that I did. But if you didn't have any blue paper, you could coordinate if you had some green in your stash, or you could use the green DSP that came in the kit, and instead of blue, you could put green as your little panel right here. So I just thought this was really sweet. This is Stampin' Up's linen thread, and I don't know if you noticed here, it's a double bow, but do you see how many strands are coming out? There's only 1 strand. There's 1 strand, but there's 2 strands to each side of the bow. And I saw somebody do it the other day. Gosh, I can't remember who it was, but I thought I need to learn how to make that double bow. And so I Googled it. And of course I learned it's not super easy. Maybe I'll do another video some other time, but isn't it cute? The little double strand, but you just have 1 strand coming down. It's not super distracting from your card. So I added some gold embellishments again. And I don't know if any of you have this tool, but I bought this tool a few months back. I try to stay with all Stampin' Up stuff, but it's like, Stampin' Up doesn't have a good tiny precision glue type solution. They sell one. I have it. I don't like it. It doesn't work that great for me. But My Sweet Petunia sells this, and it's a little pricey, but I like it, and it works for securing the little tiny embellishments that aren't adhesive backed already. So I use it for that. And I also used it to put this really delicate wreath on there because you're just doing tiny little dots on the back of that wreath. And using this guy, you know, Mr. Big Green Glue, it would just have been a mess. So anyway, that's how I did that. So birthday wishes and Misty Moonlight, and then the inside. This is just one of the sentiments I had in my stash. To someone we're celebrating every single day. And then this is a little strip of the paper that came from the kit. Do you guys want the dimensions of that? I should tell you. Okay. All right. So the designer paper on the left is 2.5 by 5.25. Yep, 2.5 by 5.25. And then this piece here is kind of an oddball size. 1 3/8 by 5.25. So yeah, I think I just cut that, eyeballed it, and cut it to what I thought was going to look good. But that's what my measurements are. So 1 3/8 by 5.25, and then this one 2.5 by 5.25. Okay, so that one. The fourth card I made looks like this, and I used a Misty Moonlight base from my stash. I didn't finish the inside of this one yet. I just noticed. Very simple, a white base that is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8, which means this DSP is going to be 5 inches by 3 3/4. So DSP is 3 3/4 by 5, and then the white mat around it is 1/8 larger. Okay, these blue flowers came from this die right here. So I cut 2 of those out in the Misty Moonlight color, and then I cut out some more of the leaves, the die cut leaves. So I cut out this guy and this guy just to add as embellishments from the Mossy Meadow green color. This gold embellished sentiment came from the kit, and then this little striped blue piece came from the ephemera pack. So those are that came from. Do I have those in here? Look at all this stuff. Where are they? Oh, here they are. So the ephemera pack that came with the kit, they look like this. So this striped one is just a strip cut off from this one. It was the one that said "It's a great day" on the side. So I literally just cut that much off of it. What is that? That is like 3/4 of an inch. And then I cut it in half. I used half of it over here and half of it over here. So I really kind of was trying to be economical with how I used my paper here. Then I decided to show you guys how you could use the glitter glue that was included in the kit. So this stuff right here. So basically I just dotted the designer paper all over the place with the little gold dots of glitter glue. And then you smack it on your hand, or you smack it on the table. You can't see me do that, but you do that, and then it flattens them out a little bit, and then when they dry, they even get flatter. So they're really flat. Like you can't hardly see any dimension of them at all. And then for the centers of the blue flowers, I put in the embellishments that came in the kit. So that's that one. And then we have one more. This is also birthday wishes. Very simple. Designer paper, designer paper, designer paper. More of the floral embellishments that were stamped and individually die cut. This little gold strip came in the kit. This came with the kit. Birthday wishes does not look like that. So what I did there is, see how it's one long. I didn't cut the stamp. I just stamped it up half and half. So I inked up only the birthday. And you can put a little piece of tape. Where'd they go? So if you were to want to do this again, you can put a little piece of Post-it tape over the part that you don't want to stamp. In this case, it would be the wishes part. So just do like that. Then you're going to grab your ink and you're going to stamp up birthday. And you're not going to worry about if you get ink on the white part, that's fine. So you're going to stamp up birthday really good. Now, don't forget to take this part off. So you take off the tape, set that down, and then you stamp birthday where you want it. And there you just have the birthday. Then you're going to clean off your stamp. nice and clean. And you're going to grab that same piece of tape, but you're going to put it on the other side of wishes. So you're masking off the birthday. Did I get it all? Yeah. So you can reuse the same tape. So then you're going to go wishes, ink it up really good, take off your tape. I'm going to throw it away now because I'm done with it. And then you're going to stamp wishes. And that's how you get birthday wishes on 2 lines. Super easy. Some people, if they're really good, can do it without tape. I don't like to risk it, especially if it's a sentiment piece that I don't have any more of. So there's that. Okay, so back to this piece. We are looking at 1.5 inches for this side piece of designer paper by 4. So 1.5 by 4. This is probably going to be a quarter. 1/4 by 4 for this green section. And then this final section looks to be 3 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8. 3 5/8 by 4 this way. Okay. So those are the only measurements you need for this is 1 1/4, 1/4, and 3 5/8, all cut by 4. Did I do the inside? I did. So I just took some scrap pieces of the designer paper, put them on another piece of white that I laid on top. So it's a white on white base, but it just gives it some heftiness to the back because the front tends to be heavy with all the stuff you put on it. And then you just got a flimsy backside to it. So adding another sheet of white on top of the white balances out the weight in my mind. So there you go. Okay, so those are all the cards I've designed so far. Let me bring them back and show you. I really have been enjoying this kit. Why am I missing the card? Oh, here it is. Let's see here. Come out a little bit. So here are all the cards I've designed so far. I have some ideas in mind to use the little rainbow and the cupcakes. So this is kind of basically a big heavy floral design, but I want to get into some of the designs I can use with the cupcake or this rainbow piece, and then also this little cupcake and butterfly. So stay tuned for that. But for now, this is what I got. Okay. Hit me up if you guys have any questions. So far, I'm really digging the kit. I think it's worth the value for sure. All right. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more. All right. I'll see you guys soon. Have a good night, guys. Bye.